October 4, 2024, News Report 1. On October 4, 2024, EU member states voted to approve a resolution imposing tariffs on electric vehicles from China. According to Radio France Internationale, based on this resolution, the European Commission will impose a maximum countervailing duty of 35% on Chinese electric vehicles, in addition to the existing 10% tariff, for a period of at least 5 years. The European Commission is expected to publish the final legal text by October 30, and the tariffs will officially take effect on November 1. In this vote, 10 of the 27 EU member countries supported the resolution, including France, Italy, Bulgaria, Denmark, Estonia, Ireland, Lithuania, Latvia, the Netherlands, and Poland, representing 46% of the EU's total population. Meanwhile, 5 countries, including Germany, Hungary, Malta, Slovenia, and Slovakia, voted against it, accounting for 22.65% of the EU population. According to EU Charter, if more than 65% of the EU member population opposes a decision, it can be vetoed. However, only 22% of members oppose this resolution, with 12 other countries choosing to abstain. The passage of this resolution marks a temporary conclusion to the trade dispute over electric vehicles between China and Europe. On October 4 last year, the European Commission initiated a countervailing investigation into Chinese electric vehicles. On July 4 this year, the EU began imposing temporary countervailing duties on Chinese electric vehicles, and on August 20, the EU released a draft final ruling. After a year, the resolution was finally passed on October 4. The European Commission stated that the proposal received sufficient support from member states, but the EU will continue negotiations with China to explore other solutions. Additionally, a recent survey by the German Automobile Club showed that 59% of German consumers are considering purchasing Chinese electric vehicles, with 83% of respondents finding their prices attractive. More than half believe that the innovative technology of Chinese cars is a major selling point, while 37% find their design appealing. However, safety concerns were not a primary factor for consumers. Nevertheless, experts have warned that the safety issues surrounding Chinese electric vehicles still require more attention and understanding. News Report 2. According to Yonhap News Agency, the South Korean Ministry of Industry announced on October 4 that it has officially launched a countervailing investigation into thick plate products exported from China. Thick plates refer to steel plates thicker than 6 mm, mainly used in the construction and shipbuilding industries. Previously, on July 31, South Korea's Hyundai Steel Company filed a complaint with the ministry, accusing Chinese manufacturers of exporting thick plates at low prices, causing economic losses to the company in the domestic market. According to statistics from the Korea Iron and Steel Association, last year South Korea imported 8.73 million tons of steel from China, an increase of 30% year-on-year. This year's import volume is also rapidly increasing. Data from the Korea Trade Association indicates that the quantity of steel exported from China increased by 15% in the first 4 months of this year compared to the previous year, while the export unit price fell by 19%. This indicates that China is dumping excess steel products, leading to resistance from various countries. In addition to South Korea, many countries around the world have also taken countermeasures against Chinese steel products. The United States announced in May that it would raise tariffs on Chinese steel products from the previous 0% to 7.5% to 25%. Canada has also successively raised tariffs on steel and aluminum products to 25%. In May, the EU initiated a countervailing investigation into Chinese lead-coated steel products. Mexico and Brazil have also raised tariffs on Chinese steel this year. Meanwhile, Vietnam and Turkey have also initiated related anti-dumping investigations, showing a growing global anti-dumping action against Chinese steel products. News Report 3. On October 3, the Texas state government officially sued TikTok, accusing the company of violating children's privacy. Texas prosecutors pointed out that TikTok failed to provide adequate privacy protection tools and appropriate account settings, and shared children's personal information while targeting them for advertisements. Prosecutors requested that the court impose a $10,000 fine for each incident of sharing children's personal information without parental or guardian consent, warning that this could lead to TikTok facing bankruptcy. In addition, prosecutors called for TikTok to implement measures to prevent children from accessing inappropriate content, including pornography, self-harm, drug abuse, stalking, bullying, or harassment. As early as August of this year, the U.S. Department of Justice had filed a lawsuit against TikTok and its parent company ByteDance in a California court, alleging violations of the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. The lawsuit pointed out that TikTok allowed children under the age of 13 to create accounts on their own and did not delete these accounts as required by parents, further exacerbating violations of children's privacy. News Report 4. According to Kyodo News, Japan's newly appointed Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba delivered his first policy address during a plenary session of the House of Representatives on October 4, covering multiple areas. First, regarding security policy, Ishiba stated that Japan will pursue balanced diplomacy and military strength while establishing closer ties with like-minded countries, especially deepening cooperation with the United States and South Korea. On the issue of China, Ishiba noted that Japan will cooperate with China in areas where collaboration is possible while directly addressing existing problems. Japan will comprehensively advance a mutually beneficial strategy regarding China, maintain communication at all levels, and strive to build a constructive and stable bilateral relationship while enhancing the trilateral cooperation mechanism among Japan, China, and South Korea. Ishiba emphasized that Japan will never ignore China's attempts to unilaterally change the status quo in the East China Sea and South China Sea and strongly urged China to take responsible actions. In response to the incident in Shenzhen on September 18, where a Japanese boy was attacked and killed, Ishiba promised to do everything possible to ensure the safety of Japanese citizens abroad. Secondly, regarding the Ukraine war, Ishiba stated that deterrence has failed to function in the region, warning that the current situation in Ukraine may become a reality in East Asia tomorrow. In terms of economic policy, Ishiba revealed plans to submit a supplementary budget to Congress immediately after the House of Representatives elections on October 27. The new economic measures will focus on three pillars: first, addressing rising prices by providing subsidies to low-income individuals; second, promoting economic growth at the national and local levels; and third, strengthening disaster prevention systems. Furthermore, Ishiba set a goal of raising Japan's average minimum wage to 1,500 yen, approximately $10.20, by 2030 to address challenges posed by rising prices. In a press conference held the following day, Economic Revitalization Minister Ruji Akizawa described Ishiba's economic policies as Ishiba economics, stating that its primary task is to promote growth through fair economic and fiscal management. In key areas, Ishiba economics advocates for driving wage growth and an investment-driven growth model through public-private partnerships. Analysts noted that the introduction of Ishiba economics marks the end of Abenomics. News Report 5. Taiwan's naval commander, Tang Hua, recently stated in an exclusive interview with The Economist that since President Lai Ching-te took office, the People's Liberation Army, PLA, has implemented a pressure tactic referred to as the Python strategy against Taiwan. Tang pointed out that although the PLA's actions have been slow, their objectives are clear, continuously increasing military presence around the Taiwan Strait to gradually exert pressure on Taiwan. According to Tang, the number of PLA aircraft crossing the median line of the Taiwan Strait rose from 36 times in January to 193 times by August, almost a five-fold increase. Similarly, the number of PLA naval vessels operating around Taiwan increased from 142 in January to 282 in August. The PLA vessels are getting increasingly close to Taiwan, with recent activities coming within 24 nautical miles, nearing Taiwan's contiguous zone boundary. More worryingly, the duration of the PLA's naval activities has also increased, extending from just a few hours to several days. Tang emphasized that these actions indicate the PLA is prepared to block Taiwan at any time, with the capacity to multiply the number of aircraft and vessels at will. He believes that the ultimate goal of the PLA's pressure on Taiwan is to exhaust the Taiwanese military and provoke mistakes, thereby creating an excuse for blockade actions. In response to this Python strategy, Tang stated that Taiwan has announced new rules of engagement, urging the military to restrain itself to avoid provocations or escalation. Defense Minister Gu Lixiong noted that while China's expansionist nature will not change, the Taiwanese military is prepared for various potential scenarios and can respond to any actions from the PLA at any time. News Report 6. According to Central News Agency, the Straits Exchange Foundation, SEF, held a background briefing on the afternoon of October 4. SEF Secretary-General Luo Wenjia stated that from January of last year to September of this year, 77 Taiwanese individuals went missing after traveling to China, with more than 40 still uncontacted and over 30 having re-established contact. Luo pointed out that most cases of Taiwanese individuals going missing in China are related to fraud activities. He urged people to be cautious about job advertisements, especially those that lack transparency, are from informal channels, or claim high-paying jobs. He emphasized that the youth unemployment rate in China reached 18.8% in August, and if young people in China struggle to find work, how could they possibly offer good job opportunities to Taiwanese youth? Luo warned that young Taiwanese individuals in China may be forced to participate in fraudulent activities. He further stated that China does not have a lawful environment, and if Taiwanese youth become involved in crimes, they will find it difficult to receive a fair trial. He cited the case of a 22-year-old man from Kaohsiung who went missing after traveling to China on August 27, with a press release from the Taiwan Affairs Office in China on September 23 stating that the man was suspected of committing crimes in China and was under investigation. Luo questioned whether Taiwanese individuals could receive a fair trial under China's legal system and called for careful consideration of this issue. News Report 7. According to Voice of America, Hu Wei, a professor at the Shanghai Party School, has recently faced internal party discipline for questioning the unlimited relationship between China and Russia. Sources revealed that Hu's disciplinary actions occurred between June and September of this year, which included a serious warning within the party, a demotion in his teaching position, and an immediate retirement order. Hu's predicament is related to two articles he previously published. The first article was written in February 2022, during the early stages of the Russia-Ukraine war, and published on the China-US Impressions website. In the article titled, Possible Outcomes of the Russia-Ukraine War and China's Choices, he called on the Chinese government not to closely bind itself to Putin to avoid a lose-lose situation. Hu pointed out that it is wise for China to remain neutral in certain circumstances. However, a superficial neutrality regarding the Ukraine conflict is inappropriate, especially considering China's consistent advocacy for respecting national sovereignty and territorial integrity. Therefore, he suggested that China should align with the majority of countries to prevent further international isolation. In February 2023, Hu published another article on the same platform titled, Reflections on the First Anniversary of the Russia-Ukraine War. He analyzed that Russia's status as a great power is no longer secure, China's external environment is increasingly complex, and the outcome of the Ukraine war is gradually becoming clear, putting China in a dilemma. Additionally, retired Professor Gong Fongbin from the National Defense University of China also posted online predicting that Russia will definitely lose, and Ukraine will definitely win, leading to a serious warning from the Beijing Municipal Commission for Discipline Inspection. In August of this year, Zhu Hengpeng, the deputy director of the Institute of Economics at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, was removed from his position after criticizing Xi Jinping's economic policies in a WeChat group. These incidents indicate that scholars' freedom of speech is restricted, and they must strictly adhere to official positions. News Report 8. According to Nikkei Asia, despite widespread anti-Japanese sentiment in China, a large number of Chinese tourists still chose to travel to Japan during this year's National Day holiday, indicating a strong demand for travel. Japan has become the top destination for Chinese tourists, experiencing the first significant peak since the pandemic. According to relevant statistics, tickets for flights from Beijing to Japan were sold out from September 30 to October 2. Japanese airlines reported that during the holiday period, the number of passengers booking flights to China reached 15,800, a year-on-year increase of 23%, recovering to 70% of 2019 levels. Many Chinese tourists were also spotted on the streets of Tokyo, queuing outside luxury stores. Nonetheless, economists at Sony Financial Group pointed out that due to the weak Chinese economy, overall tourist spending may not reach pre-pandemic levels. Data from Japan's tourism agency showed that the average shopping expenditure of Chinese tourists in Japan from April to June this year was 137,000 yen, about $920, a 12% increase from 2019. However, this increase was primarily influenced by the depreciation of the yen and rising prices in Japan, indicating that the actual spending growth of Chinese tourists is not significant. News Report 9. Radio Free Asia reported that during this year's National Day holiday, around 200,000 Chinese tourists flooded into Hong Kong each day in the first 3 days. However, these tourists are referred to as special forces, as they only check in at popular spots without spending much, providing limited benefits to Hong Kong businesses. The term, special forces, refers to a popular tourism model in China where tourists visit as many attractions as possible in the shortest time with the least expense. Many tourists engage in what is termed budget travel through this approach. Reports indicate that some visitors from Shenzhen follow recommendations from social media platforms to take photos at places like Victoria Harbour, the Central Ferris Wheel, and Hong Kong University, but do not stay overnight, returning to mainland China daily. Younger tourists also adhere to recommendations from social media to queue at small shops to try food but state that the cost of living in Hong Kong is too high, opting only for the cheapest food options. Some visitors from Guangzhou revealed that prices in Hong Kong are 3 to 4 times higher than in Guangzhou, and they even bring food from Guangzhou to Hong Kong, only purchasing drinking water there. A store manager at a jewelry shop on Tsim Sha Sui's Golden Bauhinia Square stated that Chinese tourists rarely make purchases in the store, prompting the business to offer discounts of up to 50% to attract customers. News Report 9. Radio Free Asia reports that during this year's National Day holiday, about 200,000 Chinese tourists flocked to Hong Kong each day for the first 3 days, but these tourists are referred to as special forces because they only check in at popular spots without spending much, providing limited help to Hong Kong businesses. The term special forces describes a popular travel model in China where tourists visit the most attractions in the shortest time and at the lowest cost. Many tourists are engaged in what is termed budget travel. Reports indicate that some visitors from Shenzhen follow recommendations on Zaihangshu, Little Red Book, to take photos at places like Victoria Harbour, the Central Ferris Wheel, and the University of Hong Kong but do not stay overnight in Hong Kong, returning to the mainland daily. Younger tourists queue up to try local delicacies based on Zaihangshu recommendations, but they express that the cost of living in Hong Kong is too high, often opting for the cheapest food options. Some visitors from Guangzhou revealed that prices in Hong Kong are 3 to 4 times higher than in Guangzhou, and they even bring food from Guangzhou to Hong Kong, purchasing only bottled water while in the city. A jewelry store manager in Tsim Sha Sui stated that Chinese tourists rarely shop in the store, forcing businesses to offer 50% discounts to attract customers. News Report 10. Voice of America reports that on October 3, officials from Israel and Iraq revealed that they successfully rescued an Iraqi woman named Saido, who had become an Islamic State sex slave in Gaza. Saido was kidnapped by the Islamic State at the age of 11 on August 11, 2014, in her hometown of Sinjar, Iraq. In early 2015, she was forced to marry a 24-year-old Palestinian Islamic State militant and was taken to Gaza in 2020. For over a decade, Saido suffered abuse and rape. Saido's release was facilitated by international cooperation, with the Iraqi Christian and Yazidi Children's Liberation Organization helping her escape from her Palestinian husband's home, where she hid about 2 kilometers from Israeli forces. In the early hours of October 1, a joint team comprising U.S., Israeli, and UN officials used a UN ambulance to transport Saido to Israel and then to Jordan, ultimately reuniting her with her family in Baghdad. Saido is part of Iraq's minority group, the Yazidis. In 2014, Yazidis in Iraq faced genocide at the hands of the Islamic State, with over 6,000 women and children abducted. Additionally, the Israel Defense Forces conducted airstrikes in the early hours of October 4, targeting a Hezbollah compound in southern Beirut, aiming for Hezbollah leader Nasrallah's successor, Shafiq. Reports indicate that Shafiq was in a bunker during the airstrike, and it remains unclear whether the target was hit. Beirut International Airport was also bombed, with Reuters reporting that the IDF attacked crossing points between Lebanon and Syria, creating a crater 4 meters wide. Israel claimed this crossing point was used for smuggling weapons. News Report 11. Voice of America reports that Vice President Kamala Harris and former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney held a campaign rally in Ripon, Wisconsin, on October 3. Ripon is the birthplace of the Republican Party, and the event was described as an incredible moment, marking a campaign collaboration between a Democratic presidential candidate and a Republican in the party's origin place. This indicates that Harris is making efforts to appeal to moderate Republican voters to build bipartisan support. Cheney, the daughter of former Vice President Dick Cheney and a member of the House committee investigating the January 6 Capitol riot, mentioned during her speech that violence does not resolve who rules us and emphasized that voters are the source of power. Despite identifying as a staunch conservative, Cheney believes former President Trump is no longer qualified to hold the presidency again and urged Republican voters to prioritize national interests over party interests. Meanwhile, Trump criticized Harris and Cheney during an interview with Fox News on the evening of October 3, claiming they were attacking each other and stating that neither was ideal. Trump participated in campaign activities in Michigan and plans to campaign in Georgia on October 4, followed by an event in Pennsylvania on October 5. Notably, Trump's event location is the site where he was shot on July 13, injuring his right ear. However, all subsequent photos show no scars on his ear, raising public skepticism. Additionally, American media Axios and polling organization Harris Poll released a survey last month regarding the impact of misinformation on elections, indicating that 80% of respondents were concerned that misinformation could seriously affect election outcomes. Among them, 51% found lies spread by political figures most worrisome, 35% believed social media companies failed to stop misinformation, and 30% felt foreign governments were disseminating false information. The survey interviewed 2,122 adults from September 12 to 14. News Report 12. Ming Pao reports that Dr. Evans, an infectious disease expert at Queen's University in Ontario, Canada, stated that the flu season in Canada is expected to start in late October, peaking from late December to early January, with a potential second wave in February to March. This year, the dominant flu virus in Canada is H3N2, a subtype of the influenza A virus, which may lead to more severe symptoms, particularly among the elderly, young children, and immunocompromised individuals. In addition to influenza, Dr. Evans reminded the public to be aware of other respiratory diseases, including the common cold and COVID-19. Canada will roll out flu vaccines in the coming weeks, and he urges the public to get vaccinated to enhance their immunity against the virus and protect their health.